So my grandfather gardened his whole life. He was in World War II, and when he was out, his comfort zone was being out in the garden. My name is Joe Brunetti, and I'm the lead horticulturist for the National Museum of American History. He was famous in our family for his cabbages, which we hated. We just didn't like to eat cabbage all that often in my family. But they were beautiful heads of cabbage. He knew what he was doing, and that's where his peace was. That's where he was able to just kind of forget about the hardships of what he'd been through during the war and reconnect with the land and find his passion again. Yeah, so last Saturday was something called the Food History Weekend, and it was connected with food in the garden. And we used the Victory Garden that we're in now as the stage. So we're celebrating outdoors, gardens, food and drink in the garden that's connected to history in some way, shape, or form. We did hop harvesting, so we educated people about hops and how that goes into beer and flavoring beer, and a little bit about the history of hops. The first time I've heard about Victory Gardens, that term being used, was post-World War I. War Gardens it doesn't have a very positive name to it. Victory Gardens does. It's more uplifting and more something that people can strive for. A garden that's victorious, a war that's victorious. It's a nice connection to have. Basically, the government turned to the citizens and asked them to start growing their own food. And it was a way for anybody here on the home front to contribute to the war effort. So it was stated that every man, woman, and child that picked up a hoe was a true soldier. And the plow line was a battle line. As you walk through this garden, you're going to be seeing, I'd say about 100 different varieties at the height of the season of heirloom crops. And they all have their own stories to them. I have a lettuce called tennis ball lettuce, and it's an old heirloom. That was one of Thomas Jefferson's favorite lettuces. And he actually would pickle that lettuce and bring it to the table. My father did a little bit of gardening and experimented, and I think the first wow I got was when he snapped off an asparagus spear in our garden and had me eat it raw, just straight out. And I was young, and the whole connection of growing something from just a root mass to seeing it emerge from the soil and plucking it right there at the peak of its ripeness and then eating it and getting that sensation of just the fresh quality of it. Something kind of switched in me. There was a connection there. If somebody's into it, they become alive in this garden. And I think most people that I've talked to that have grown their own food have that connection. They have that appreciation.